Alright guys, and welcome back to this Python tutorials for beginners. In this tutorial I'm going to teach you about Python operators, how to use Python operators and how to work with Python operators. Use it to perform a whole lot of things in programming, and it's a very important concept in programming and in Python as well. So you open your PyDroid, okay, then create new file. Okay, and here we're going to discuss about Python operators. So what is Python operators? Python operators are mathematical symbols or characters which are used to perform operations on data or values, or even on variables as well. So the mathematical symbols used to perform operations on data, variables, values, and all that. And we have different types of them, different types of Python operators. We have the arithmetic operators. So under arithmetic operators, we have subtraction operator, addition operator, division, multiplication, exponential, floor division, modulus, and all that. And so we also have assignment operators, which are used to assign values to variables or data to variables. We also have the comparison operators. The comparison operators are used to compare variables of distinct types and stages. And also have the logical operators. The logical operators, we have the and the or and the not. They are all logical operators. We will talk about them and discuss them one after the other. We also have the identity operators, and then all that. We have membership operators, and there are a lot of them. So let's talk about these arithmetic operators now, and then do some examples on the arithmetic operators. Under arithmetic operators, we are going to talk about addition operators. These are called addition operators, as you can see here. So how do we perform operation using the addition operators? For example, I will create my variable and then I'll name it anything. Let me just call it num1, okay, for example, and then I will assign a value to it. Let me say 35. Alright, so 35, and then num2, then assign another value to it, 56, and then I'll come down and create another variable called add, then equals num1 plus num2, Alright, since we have stored this, we'll now print add. We create the first variable and the second variable and assign values into them, and then created another variable and then sum the two values we stored in these two variables inside this add variable. And so we are going to print the add and see the result, 35 plus 56. If I run my program, okay, invalid syntax, arithmetic operators. Okay, let's see them. Okay, this one, let's give this, let's make it a comment. That's why we have that invalid syntax, because we did not make this a comment, so the compiler does not recognize this kind of program. So let me run my program again. You can see 99, that's the addition of 35 and then 56 is giving us what, 91. And so that is how to use the addition operator. We can also do it in this way. Instead of creating a new variable like this, guys, instead of using this add variable, we can also do it in this wise. We can say num1, we can convert this, make this num1, and then plus equals num1, then plus equals, let's say num1 plus equals 3, num1 plus equals 56. Okay, they will not print num1. I will explain what this means. Num1 then plus equals 56, num1. Alright, what this means is that we created a variable named num1, and then we assign 35 into it, and then we'll come down and then we'll now say that num1 should be plus and equal to 56. What it means is that we are adding the value stored in num1 to with 56. We are adding the value stored in num1 with 56. That's what this line of the program mean. That's why we have num1 plus equals 56 is the same as that first method. And so if I come down and run my program again, you can see the same answer here, 91. So that's basically how to use this addition operator to perform operation on variables and on data. So just take note of these two methods. But then also we have the subtraction operators. The subtraction operator, let me convert this to num2, and then num2 70, or let me use another number, 4. Let me create another variable named add. Then I'll now subtract inside this variable. I'll do the subtraction of the first and second variable. Alright, let me say num1, then minus num1 minus num2. Then I'll now print the add variable, and then we'll see the result, print add. Alright, so if I run my program now, you'll see 11. That is the answer of 35 minus 24. It's what? 11. And so we can also do it in this way by ignoring this line of program. Let me just make it a comment so that the compiler will ignore it. Then I'll now come here and print num1. Okay, print num1. So we can also do it this way. Let's make this num1. We say num1 plus equals. That's the same thing we did last time. We used this num1, then minus equals. Since we are dealing with the subtraction operator, minus equals num1, then minus equals. I'll remove this because we are done with addition operators now. Alright, so this num1 minus equals is the same thing as this other line that I made a comment. So if I run my program, you can see the same value, the same answer we obtain here. And so we also have the multiplication operators. The multiplication operator, let me comment this and then come down. Alright, so this is actually add, or let me use more here. Let me just use more. Come here and print more. So the multiplication operator is used to perform multiplication on data, on variables and all that. And so let's come here, change this subtraction operator to multiplication operator. This is the multiplication symbol. And so if I come here and print, remember what we are doing here, it's the multiplication of 35 and 24. And so if I run my program, you see the result. Okay, num2 is not defined. Let's go back to the code. Alright, we change this to num2. This was supposed to be num2. Okay, so now we run a program. You can see the answer 840, the result of the multiplication of 35 and 24. And so it's the same thing as doing it this way. Let me comment this. Let me make this a comment and then convert this to num1 as usual. Alright, so num1, now convert this, remove this, make this num1 as well. Okay, and then times equal to, we now use multiplication equal to 24. So these are the two methods which I said earlier, which we use to perform variables. So if I run the program, you'll see the result, the same answer, 840. We also have the division operator. The division operator, we change this multiplication operator to division, then we have the division operator. So then let me uncomment this, and then let's come here and print more. Come here and print div. Alright, so make this our div. You can name your variable anything, remember, and also convert this to num2. Okay, then if I come down and print my program, run my program, you can see the result of that division we performed there. So you can also use that second method by converting, making this num2 num1, and then you do it division equal to just as usual as we usually do, just something like this, division equal to, you can see. So it will also give you the same values. So now let's move on to the modulus operator. The modulus operator returns the quotient. The quotient, I mean, is the result of any division. It returns the result, the remainder of any division performed. So this is the modulus operator symbol. This symbol is what we call the modulus operator symbol. You can see now. So what I'm doing here is diff equals num1, then modulus num2. Then we now print diff. It will return the remainder of any division. That is, if 35 divided by 24, then the remainder, that's what we obtain. That's what the modulus operator obtain. You can see here. Alright, so you can see the remainder. So 35 divided by 24, it's the remainder is what? 11. So that's what the modulus operator does basically. We also have the floor division operator. This floor division operator is it returns the result of any division without decimal point. Remember, in our normal division, in our normal division, we obtain a decimal number here. You can see decimal place number, and then if we use our floor division, a floor division will return a non-decimal number. You can see now it removes all decimal points. That's what the floor division does, and this is the symbol. The floor division is the double of the normal division symbol, and that is that. And so we also have the exponential operator. That's the double of multiplication operator. The exponential operator, that is the power. It means raised to power. So if we assign a 2 into num2, and then we now say num1, then exponential num2, that is, it means num1 raised to power 2. Let's see. We can see the result 1225. That's the result of 35 raised to power 2. You can see now. So that is how it works. This is what we call the exponential operator. And so you can also use that second method I was using on addition and subtraction to do the same operation. Now we move on to the second operator, which is the assignment operator. The assignment operator is just actually what we've been doing so far, because the assignment operator is this equal sign. This equal sign is what we call assignment operators. And so if you add anything to it, let's say we add minus, it's the assignment operator. If you add plus, it's the assignment operators. It is used to assign values to variables or assign data to variables and all that. And so the assignment operators are used to assign data to variables. They are like a bridge through which data are passed into variables. That's the work of assignment operators. You can add as much as you can add plus before it. They are still assignment operators. You can add multiplication, exponential, and all that. They are still assignment operators because they are still used to assign values into what? Variables. So we now move on to logical operators. Under logical operators, we have and or and not. Logical operators are used to perform logical operations on data, and then there are three types. We have the and operator under logical operator. We have the or, and then the not. The and returns true if both statements are true. Take note, the and operator will return true if both statements are true. So let me do something like this. Num1 equals 35, and then I come here and print num1 greater than 3, and this is the and operator. Num1 less than 3. Num1 less than 3. Let's see the result of this. Num1 greater than 3 and num1 less than 3, or we can use another value, num1 less than 10 and all that. So if I run my program, you'll see it will return false. It's false. You can see the result. It returns false because both conditions are not true. This num1 greater than is not the same as num1 less than, and so the conditions are not what? True. So if we now assign, let's say num1 less than, let's use less than here, less than, we now use less than 10 here. Let's say num1 less than 10 and num1 less than 10. If we print the result false, because the conditions are not what met, both conditions are not true. So it only returns true when both conditions are true. Okay, num1 greater than 10 and num1 greater than 10. Because these two conditions are true, compared to the value we stored in our num1, it will return true in this case. You can see now it returns what true, because actually num1 is greater than 10 and num1 is what greater than 10. That is how to use the AND operator. And so we also have the OR operator. The OR operator returns true if one of the statement is true. If one of the condition is true, then the OR operator will return true. This is the OR operator. Alright, so if we have assigned our values to our num1, which is 35, and then we'll come here and say num1 greater than 10, which is true actually, and then num1 less than, let's use less than here, so you see the result. In this case it will return true if one of the condition is what true. You can see now it returns what true, because one of these conditions is true. But if I come here and change it to less than, you see it will return false, because none of the condition is what true. So that's how the OR operator works. This is how to use the OR operator. And we also have the NOT operator. The NOT operator returns the reverse of any result. And so if we say num1 less than 10 or num1 less than 10, that is a factual statement. It is true, but it will return false, because it returns the reverse. It reverses the result of any condition, of any statement. You can see now it false because of what? That's how the NOT operator works. You can let me do it again using the NOT operator. And so if I change this to NOT, alright, so it now say num1 less than 10, then NOT. Okay, let's do it this way. Let's maintain that all. Then we'll come here and then use our NOT. Then let's say NOT. Okay, so normally, since this statement was false, you can see the OR statement was false, but since we have used NOT here, it will return what true. Sorry, very syntax, this and that. Alright, so let's go back to our program and see what the problem is. Okay, print NOT. Okay, let's put the NOT inside bracket. Alright, so if we run our program, it will return true. You can see now it reverses that condition. That's how the NOT operator works. It reverses any condition. It reverses the result of any statement. If we use the AND operator also, let's do something like this. Let's say num1 greater than 10 and num1 greater than 10. Let's change this to greater than, and num1 greater than 10. You can see in AND operator this will be what? True. This will be true. In a normal AND operator this will be true. But if we run our program, you see it returns what? False, because that's how the NOT operator operates. It reverses the result of any condition. That's all about logical operators. Let's move on to identity operators. The identity operators are used to compare objects or values if they are the same or not. We have the is and the is not. So these are the two identity operators which are used to perform operation on values. For example, if let me remove this, or let me make them a comment, so the program will be ignored. Okay, alright, so if I come down and create a variable, let me name it x, then let me say x equals then I'll create a list of objects. Let me call it anything. I'm going to use just bread and tea, just something like that. So let me say bread. Okay, and then we go exit here. Alright, then come here and then tea. Okay, so if I close my bracket, and come down, create another variable named y, and then define my objects inside this variable. These are called objects. Let me say bread, and again t. Okay, I'm just using this to illustrate to us. So these are two lists of objects which I created, and I have told us that the identity operators are used to compare objects if they are the same or not. So we are going to use the is to confine this statement now. So let me just do something like this. Let me say z. Let me say z equals. Let me say z equals y. Let me say z equals y. Then I'll now come down and print z is y. Let me say z is y. So if I run the program, you see it returns what? True. It returns true because y is the same object as z. Let me say x is y. Let's take note of this. Let's say x, since they have the same object inside them. Let's say x is y. If I run the program, you see it returns what? False, because it's not the same what? Object. Do you understand? They are not the same variable. They are not the same value, irrespective of the object that are stored in them. But in this case, we assigned y to z. That was why it returns true, because we are telling the program that y is definitely equal to z in by name, but not the same variable stored in them. This is how the is works. So you can see it's used to compare values if they are the same or not. Then we also have the is not. Let's do something like this. Print x equals y. It returns what? True, because they have the same what? Variables in common. That's why when we use the equal operator, it returns true. Is it understood? And so we'll now move on to the is not. So if we change this, let's remove this one, and then we'll say x is not. This is the is not operator. If you say x is not y, you say it will return what? True, and that is a fact because it's not the same variable. They are not the same. They don't bear the same name. But if we say z is not y, let's do something like this. Let's say z is not y. It returns false. False. You can see now it returns false because z is actually y. Since we have assigned the value z, we have assigned y into z. That is to make them the same. So that is that about the identity operators. And so we have this comparison operators. The comparison operators are used to compare values. They are used to compare values if they are the same or not. That's what the comparison operators does. The comparison operators are used to compare values. So if I come here and then let me assign a value to this. Okay. So this comparison operator consists of the equal to. Like I said, double of this equal sign is what we call equal to here in Python programming. Double of this equal sign is called equal to, while single of it is called assignment operator. It can be of this form as well, like the greater than, the less than, and all that. And the not equal to, they are still they are still comparison operators. The not equal to, you can say it, the not equal to, still under word comparison operator. And then the greater than as well, the greater than, and then the less than. So that's that about the comparison operators. Alright, so I'll remove this and then we'll move on to the membership operator. The membership operators are used to test or to determine if a sequence is present in an object or a list. So we can use the membership operator or something like this. Let me define a variable and call it anything. Let me just use X for simplicity, and then I'll create a list of objects, then assign anything. Let me use bread as usual. Okay, bread, and then tea, butter. Okay, then butter, bread, tea, and then butter. Okay, so here we go. Now I'm going to use the membership operator to perform some operation here. The membership operator consists of the in and the not in, and so I'll come down and print. Let me check if the object bread exists in my list. So I'll come down and print using the in operator in X. Since bread is in X, then if I run my program, it will return what? True, because bread is actually in what? My list. That's how the membership operators work. Let me use something like brand. Alright, since this kind of object is not in our list, let me run the program. You see false. It returns what? False, because the object brand does not exist in our list. That's why when we say brand in X, it will return false because it does not exist. Now you should remember to put the object which you want to compare, which you want to check, in a quotation mark, be it single or double. Is it understood? So if I say T in X, it will return what? True, because the object T actually exists in our list of objects. You can see that. Then we also have the not in. The not in will return true if the object is actually not in our list and all that. So if I say not in, if I say T not in X, it will return what? False, because actually T is an object in our list. You can see now it returns what? False, because T is an object. So if we now say, okay, let's say TL, let's just do something like this, use a random word, let's say team not in X, it will return what? True, because the object team is not in our list and all that. So this is how the not in operator works basically. So if we now say butter, if we say butter, okay, butter not in X, it will return false because it's not true. You see now? Alright, so that's how it works. But if we say butter in, let's remove this not. If we say butter in X, it will return true. Is it understood? So this is how these operators work. So this is all about Python operators. Thank you, and see you in the next class.